Back inside our network studios here in the Battery, Atlanta, right across the street from Truist Park. I'm Kevin McAlpin, Truist reporter for 680 The Fan and the Atlanta Braves radio network. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Braves are getting set for the series finale with the Tampa Bay Rays across the street tonight at 7:10 p.m. Eastern. A couple of lefties going at it. Max Fried for the Braves, Ryan Yarbrough for the visiting Rays. We'll talk about that matchup in just a couple of moments. 7-4 was your final last night, in a great bounce-back performance for the Braves, especially Freddie Freeman, who had a big night at the plate, finishing a triple shy of the cycle. He goes out there, a two-run homer early, a double and a single that drove in a run. So a good night for Freddie Freeman after an 0 for 4 as the DH the night before. And Freddie jokingly said that's the last time he'll ever DH. Snit also jokingly in his pregame media session today said, Freddie will do what I tell him to do. If I tell him to DH, he's going to DH. But I got a feeling after an 0 for 4 with 4 punchies, probably the last time we see Freddie DH, at least for a little while. Tonight, again, as I mentioned, the Braves will look to make it 2 in a row. And so far, so good on the home schedule. They've now won 4 consecutive home openers. Matter of fact, going back over their last 12 home openers, they've won 10 of their last 12 games here to open up the home portion of their schedule in Atlanta, including all 4 at Truist Park. Again, another night, a good night at the plate for Marcell Ozuna and Dansby Swanson. But I got to tell you, I was really encouraged by the at-bats from Ronald Acuna Jr. last night. He's been off to a slow start. Entering play last night, 12 strikeouts through the first 5 games of the season. And of course, that's not the way anybody wants to start the year, leading the big leagues in strikeouts. But the single to right field I thought was a good sign. He also walked later in the ballgame. 2 walks the night before down in Tampa. So for a guy who has scuffled getting out of the gate, I think the at-bats have been very promising here lately. And Freddie Freeman says it's just a matter of time. He feels like Ronald can heat up at any moment. And I think he's getting very close to doing that. Maybe it's even tonight. We'll see what happens against the lefty Ryan Yarbrough. A righty-heavy lineup tonight for the Braves as Ender Inciarte sits. Matt Adams is also out of the lineup. Marcell Ozuna will DH. Austin Riley will start in left field. Johan Camargo, the switch-hitting third baseman tonight. So really, only just a couple of lefties in the lineup and all righties in there. So it'll be good to see. And that's going to be important because Yarbrough, for the course of his career, has been very tough against left-handed hitters. Matter of fact, to the tune of just a 2.18 lifetime average against. Of course, some big news today. Mike Foltynewicz outrighted to the Braves satellite camp in Gwinnett. And I got to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised nobody claimed Folty. Now, I know the velo's down. There's some red flags than what we've seen here lately. But, the cost of starting pitching these days for a guy who'd be just over $2 million, about $2.3 million prorated for the rest of the season, teams need help when it comes to their rotations. I'm shocked a team like the Red Sox didn't at least take a flyer on him, bring him in and see what he had. And again, not a whole lot to lose, but Folty goes unclaimed and he stays with the Braves, and Snit and others are certainly hopeful they can get him right because we all know how good Folty can be when he's at the top of his game. 2 years ago, he was an all-star. And then, of course, just wasn't the same guy last year. Velo way down this year. So we'll see if that's something he can get corrected at the satellite camp at Gwinnett. If they can get him turned around like they did last year, that could be big for the Braves down the stretch. Other couple pieces of injury news. Will Smith, who continues to progress coming off the COVID-19 list, he threw a side session yesterday. Snit said it went very well, and he's not very far off. I would think maybe a couple of more of those, maybe one simulated game action, and they'll turn him loose. So I think some point later on in this 9-game homestand, maybe even Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, we could see Will Smith join the Braves bullpen. That would be a big-time boost. And the other piece of injury news today, Cole Hamel's really nothing new to report on Cole. He's just going through his throwing program. I'm starting to think we're probably not going to see Cole Hamel's pitch in the big leagues here in 2020, and that certainly is a disappointment for the Braves, who thought he could be a real big factor in this starting rotation. Again, Max Fried on the mound for the Braves tonight. He was 9-3 in 15 starts at Truist Park last season. The Braves were 11-4 in those 15 starts. The Braves will see Ryan Yarbrough, good sinker, change-up combination, and again, he's tough on lefties, so the Braves have loaded up on right-handed bats. Yarbrough faced the Braves back in 2018, and he was pretty good down at Tropicana Field. So the Braves, again, loading up on right-handed bats to combat the lefty on the mound for the Rays here tonight. Again, it's a 7:10 first pitch. Ford leadoff show starts at 5:55 p.m. Eastern. That's Ben Ingram, Chris Domino, and yours truly, my Major League debut on the pregame show tonight. Jim Powell, Joe Simpson, they will have the play-by-play play call for you from Truist Park at 7:10, and then stick around for the Hyundai postgame show. I will have the full recap, player audio. We'll look at the Major League scoreboard and preview tomorrow's game as well. All that and more coming up right here on your home of the Braves, the Fan 680, 93.7 FM, and of course the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.